The Liberal veteran Warren Entsch from way up there in North Queensland is a grassroots politician. He always wins what is a marginal seat. He said he was looking for reasons to vote yes, but he'd found none. So Warren Entsch has found none. Yet we read today that 7 of Australia's largest sporting codes are preparing to unite and campaign yes for the Indigenous Voice to Parliament. Do they speak for all the players? With respect, what would the players know, or indeed the so-called leaders of these sporting codes? What would they know? Presumably they know more than Warren Entsch, who said he was looking for reasons to vote yes, but he'd found none. Well, Warren, I've found some, apart from the fact that we should not be altering the Constitution to incorporate a race-based clause. Simple as that. That's called apartheid. But I think it was Jacinta Price who said, we don't need a voice to the Parliament, we need ears, someone to listen to what is already being said. Well, how many voices do we already have, you ask? Not just inside the Parliament, because there are 11 MPs there, but outside. Are you ready? Come on, you ready? Count with me. Here we go. Well, we've got the Australian Indigenous Education Foundation, the Australian Institute of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Studies, the Australian Indigenous Minority Supplier Council, the Aboriginal Maternal and Infant Health Service, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Commission, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Health Performance Framework, the Assembly of First Nations, the Australian Indigenous Health Infonet, the Centre for Aboriginal Economic Policy Research, Closing the Gap Clearinghouse, the Conciliation and Arbitration Commission, the Cooperative Research Centre for Aboriginal Health. Hey, that's 12. That's 12. Let's keep going. The Cape York Institute, FAHCSIA, which is the Department of Families, Housing, Community Services and Indigenous Affairs. FCAA, the Federal Council for the Advancement of Aborigines. FCAATS, the Federal Council of the Advancement of Aborigines and Torres Strait Islanders. The Healing Foundation, the Indigenous Advisory Council, the Indigenous Advancement Strategy, the Indigenous Community Governance Project. That's 20. Hang on. The Indigenous Education Strategic Initiatives Program, the Indigenous Land Corporation, the Kapulu Langu Aboriginal Women's Association, the Koori Business Network, the Kimberley Indigenous Management Support Service, the Koori Maternity Services, the Larrakia Development Corporation, the Ministerial Council for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Affairs, the National Aboriginal Community Controlled Health Organisation, the National Indigenous Australians Agency, the National Indigenous Times, the New South Wales Coalition of Aboriginal Peak Organisations, NAIDOC, the National Aborigines and Islanders Day Observance Committee, the North Coast Aboriginal Corporation for Community Health, the National Centre of Indigenous Excellence, ITV, the National Indigenous Television, NIT, the National Native Title Tribunal, the Native Welfare Council, the Office of Indigenous Policy Coordination, the Office of the Registrar of Indigenous Corporations. That's 40, hang on, we're not finished. The Queensland Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Child Protection Peak, the Aboriginal Peak Organisations Northern Territory Commission into Aboriginal Deaths in Custody, the South Australian Aboriginal Advisory Council, the Koori Mail, the Lowitja Institute, the Indigenous Affairs Group, the National Indigenous Australians Agency, the Victorian Aboriginal Child Care Agency, the West Australian Aboriginal Child Health Survey, the Working Group on Indigenous Reforms. That's 50 and I gave up. So, wake up, Australia. We are being conned.